You got a lot of blowback for the tone you took when you announced Jason Kenney, and I think it is completely undeserved.
um, so yeah, I did. I got a little bit of blowback because I held up a poster with Tzeporah Berman's face on it, and it said
Good.
Tzeporah Berman, Tzeporah Berman, enemy of the oil sands. But I was actually kind of thinking about that after, and Shadowing Magazine said that she was the biggest enemy of oil. So I mean, like, this is nothing new for Tzeporah Berman to be called enemy of oil and gas. I mean, that's kind of how she's made her substantial living over the past 15 how many years. So no, I
Let
think,
me just interrupt you there. I think she would probably describe herself as that.
yeah, well, that's it. It wasn't that much of a stretch. I you know, I my point of talk, she's a public figure. She was on the Oilsands advisory committee, and other than I think her and that Karen lady,
Karen
they
Malone.
were very, yeah, they were very actively against the pipeline while they were on the Oil Sands Advisory Committee, and that to me, it's not. I know a lot of people on that committee, and I don't agree with all of them, but you never see me attack them because they did their job, and I think they did it with integrity. I question Berman's integrity on that and many other issues.
Yeah, I mean, Tzeporah Berman was sitting on the oil sands advisory group, sitting there to decide the fate of the oil sands, including an emissions cap that would essentially act as leave it in the ground legislation, while simultaneously organizing against Trans Mountain on the ground in British Columbia. So she's being paid by Alberta and organizing against us in British Columbia. And I think you're right to call her out. I think part of the problem, or I shouldn't say problem, but I think some of the blowback you got, and you didn't get blowback from normal people, anybody concerned with Alberta's economy, you got blowback from activists and activist journalist types. I
Mm.
think some of that is because they made the connection between Berman sitting on the oil sands advisory group and the fact that Rachel Notley hired her to sit on the oil sands advisory group. And they saw that as an attack on Rachel Notley, someone that a lot of these people are still very loyal to. So I don't think it was about you. You didn't say anything wrong. You didn't do anything wrong. What you did was absolutely the truth of the matter. And but I think those people who were upset for you making that point, it's because it really had nothing to do with you. I think it had a lot to do with the fact that Berman really was a proxy for Rachel Notley's energy policy for 4 years.
So what I find this kind of funny because there's people that when Notley was premier, I was very nonpartisan,
Mm-hmm.
and I took a lot of heat on my pages when Notley did something that I thought was in support of oil sands or oil and gas. I shared it, and I still do. So my message to them is real simple: is that if you want to be angry at someone, be angry at Tzeporah Berman. I mean, she, in my opinion, betrayed them. And if you wanted to play that argument, like, I mean, what did she? Notley asked for a few small things from the environmentalists like Mike Kadima and Tzeporah Berman, and they didn't give an inch. And and everyone said they'll never give an inch, they'll never give an inch. There's no such thing as social license, and Berman proved that to be accurate. I mean, Notley put her in a position that she never would have got ever in the history of Alberta, and she couldn't just let us have one pipeline. So that tells you something. So their anger is definitely misdirected. And candidly, some of the, like, I mean, the way some of them were attacking me, it blew me away because when Notley was premier, they were praising me for saying the same thing. I went after Tzeporah Berman for months. I went after Tzeporah Berman while I was standing on the legislature with the NDP on my right and the Conservatives on my left. So candidly, I mean, I'm not sure what their issue is, but I am getting tired of a lot of people in Alberta who are against oil and gas, but somehow still make a fortune talking about it.
That's an excerpt from my weekly show, The Gun Show. It airs every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Each week, I bring you an informal interview with an interesting newsmaker or citizen activist you might not have heard of, but who is making a big difference in Canadian politics. And we'll talk about issues in a way you'll never see done in the mainstream media. To subscribe, go to therebel.media/shows.